Hi, hello, welcome back to my video channel. This video is on digestion of fats, and I have done three more videos. That is the first video as a part 1 video, that is about digestion, that is introductory part, where we are going to study about the definition of digestion, types of digestion and parts of the system, and then balanced diet as in the part 1 video, that is the introductory video. And in the second part 2 video we studied about the digestion of carbohydrates, and in the part 3 video we discussed about the digestion of proteins. Okay, this is the part 4 video, that is digestion of fats. Okay, so if you didn't if you are interested to learn about digestion of carbohydrates and the digestion of proteins and introduction about the digestion, so you can watch those videos. I'm hoping that those videos will be helpful for you. Okay, thank you. If you are interested, you can watch. Now in this video we will discuss about the digestion of lipids or fats. So before that, let us know little bit basic about lipids or fats. What are these lipids, or what are lipids, what are fats? So the word lipid is derived from the Greek word. Lipids is nothing but the fat, and they occur in both plants and animals. Okay, and they are hydrophobic in nature, that means they are insoluble in water, and they are soluble in non-polar solvents like chloroform, benzene, ether. Okay, and we know that these lipids are present in cell membrane, and they are also found as a storage molecules. Okay, and they are a source of high energy value, therefore they are very important constituent of the diet. These are the components of the food, right? Okay, so and natural, if you have to say, the naturally occurring as a waxes, greases or oils, oily organic compounds, and they are known as oils and fats. Okay, so if I have to give the definition for lipids and fats, these lipids and fats is a complex molecules constituting a mixture of fatty acid and then an alcohol, especially generally that alcohol will be a glycerol. This is very important, remember, fatty acid and then glycerol. Okay, and now we will now discuss we know that these are the component of the food. So how this lipid is going to digested by our digestive system, so it is very interesting to know. So we will learn about that. Okay, coming to the parts of the digestive system, we have buccal cavity, stomach and small intestine. We will study what happens in these parts one by one. First one, in buccal cavity, I mean in the oral cavity, the saliva has an enzyme to digest the lipid. That enzyme is called as lingual lipase. Okay, it is secreted by Edna's gland of tongue, which digests the triglycerides into fatty acids into monoglycerols. Okay, triglycerides. What are these triglycerides? Or these triglycerides, see, tri means, as in the name indicates, tri means 3. Okay, so is an ester derived from glycerol, and it is glycerides nothing but glycerol. Tri means 3. Okay, and 3 are fatty acids. As I mentioned before, while I am saying about the definition of the lipids are nothing but they are composed of fatty acid and a glycerol. Here if you have to say about triglycerides means 3 fatty acids and glycerol. Okay, so these triglycerides means complex molecules converted into a simple molecule, fatty acids, and then into monoglycerol. Mono means the single fatty acid and a glycerol will be present. Okay, so these triglycerides it will be present in the blood as a storage molecule. Okay, it will be stored in the blood. Okay, and this is converted into fatty acid and monoglycerol by the action of lingual lipase. Okay, by the where lingual lipase will be present, this enzyme will be present in the saliva. So in saliva, when we take the triglycerides will be present in the food. Okay, so when you ingest the food, when we intake the food, this the enzyme which is present in the saliva acts upon triglycerides and converts into fatty acids and monoglycerol. That's about the in buccal cavity. Okay, so now we will move on to the second one. We will study in the stomach. So here the very little amount of fat is going to digested in the stomach by the action of an enzyme called as gastric lipase. Okay, so here the triglycerides by the action of gastric lipase converted into fatty acid and plus glycerol. Okay, that's in the stomach. Now we will move on to the next one, that is in small intestine. Let us now know what happens in the stomach. The fats needs to be emulsified by bile produced by the liver. So what is this emulsified means? What is this emulsification? See here, I am mentioned as a emulsified fat, right? So what is this emulsified fat? So before that, let us first know emulsification. Emulsification is the process of breaking down the fat into smaller blood cells, which makes easy for the enzymes to function and digest the food. Okay, that is actually called as emulsification. Emulsification is nothing but the process of breaking down the larger molecules of the fat into a smaller molecules of fat. Okay, so that is called as emulsification or emulsified. So these fats are need to be emulsified, means converted into, broke down into smaller molecules by the process of emulsification by bile. This bile will be produced by the liver. Okay, and before it is acted upon the pancreatic lipase. Okay, lipase acts on the fats to break down into fatty acid and glycerol. Okay, the pancreatic juice. Okay, we know that in small intestine there will be two juices will be present. The one will be pancreatic juice, another one will be intestinal juice, right? So that act by this pancreatic lipase acts on the fats and converts into fatty acid and glycerol. Now next, the bile salts of bile juice. Okay, this bile salts of bile juice break down the larger fat molecules into smaller droplets of fat. This is called as emulsification. Okay, that's what I have mentioned before. And now this, and then later this emulsified fat. Fat means the smaller version of the fat. Okay, the smaller droplets of the fat is separated by an bile salt by an enzyme called as colipase. Okay, so those are again separated by colipase enzyme. There is another enzyme called as strypsin. This strypsin acts on emulsified fat. Again, it is going to act on emulsified fat and converts into fatty acid and glycerol. So for make you to understand, you can remember it by this equation, that is this, firstly the fat. Okay, the fat is converted into an emulsified fat by the action of a process called as emulsification. Okay, by the process called as emulsification. Okay, so and then this emulsified fat converted into a smaller, again the smaller into fatty acid and glycerol by an action of strypsin. Okay, and after that the lipids, and these now are ready to absorb. Okay, and the lipids after absorption, they are going to appear as a milky alkaline fluid in the lymph vessels of the villus, that is called as chyle. So this is the one mark question, what is chyle? So after the larger fat molecules converted into emulsified fats, and these again emulsified fat converted into fatty acid and glycerol, and these are now ready to absorb. Okay, so after the absorption of the lipids, these are going to appear as a milky alkaline fluid in the lymph vessels of the villus. So okay, though that is called as chyle. So what is this lymph vessels of the villus? So if this is the lymph, okay, the villus will be like this. The finger like projections are called as villus. Okay, the finger like projections are called as villus. So these will be, and these will be if the lipid is absorbed, and these will be look like a milky white like this. Okay, so that is actually called as, what it is called as, that is called as chyle. Okay, remember that is the one mark question. And now the next important one, that is end product. The end products of lipid digestion are fatty acids and glycerol. Remember, this is an important one. Okay, so that's about the digestion of lipids. So this is about in buccal cavity, okay, and then in stomach, and then in small intestine. So that completes the topic, that is digestion. So introduction, and then digestion of carbohydrates, digestion of proteins, and digestion of lipids. Now we came to the summary, the last part, because I should have to do this so that you guys can be remember this very easily. Okay, so that is here. So conclusion, what I would like to say is that the food is basic need for all living organisms. It is very important for an organism to live. So because it provides an energy that is required by the body. Okay, so the end product of carbohydrate digestion is glucose, galactose and fructose, and the end products of protein digestion is amino acid, and the end product of lipid fat digestion is fatty acids and glycerol. Remember, these three are very important, and I am hereby ending my video. I am hoping that this video is helpful for you all. If you learn something new from this video, please do subscribe and share. That will encourage me to do more videos. Thank you everyone.